And hello and welcome to another episode of the Double 18 Podcast live stream edition. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi, and with me, as always, my co-host, and an associate editor of the sports blog, Ken Fang. Ken, how are you?
Good, Stephen. How are you?
I'm well. At least I'm trying to tell that to myself. After the Bears fall to 0-2 after another lackluster game, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down in Tampa. At least they were in the game, but still a lot of problems. With Justin Fields' game. Just inconsistent offensive game planning by offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, who looks to be getting a lot more blame this week, as much as Justin is getting.
I'm telling you,
nationally. Yeah,
I'm telling you that there was that sequence, Stephen, where Luke Getsy called the same screen pass deep in his own territory, not once, not twice.
That was three times.
Three times.
Exactly.
And it turned out to be a pick six at the 2-yard line.
Right. And so what happened was that first one was actually a false start by Tampa Bay. So that did not happen. The second time, they completed a first down on a screen pass to running back Khalil Herbert, who is not exactly known for his hands. But then it was a offensive pass interference called against Chase Claypool, who was eviscerated last week for his poor effort that was well documented last week against the Packers. And, people like Kyle Brandt, a noted Bears fan, took it to, his own show and just, without naming names, took him out completely. And rightfully so. And there was actually even reports made by Jay Glazer on the NFL on his Fox pregame show, that there was a significant conversation that took place between GM Ryan Poles and Chase Claypool. Even the newly added DJ Moore also confronted him on the sidelines and had a very stern conversations, and that if he doesn't improve his, attitude or plays, he's as good as gone, apparently. So, and rightfully so. So again, Claypool got called for the OPI. This comes after he caught a touchdown pass that, for the first time as a Bear, and actually brought the Bears to within 3 points. And then the third, attempt that you were mentioning, that was an easy tell, that the Buccaneers linebacker Lavonte David said that he could have seen that play coming from miles away, which certainly, was an indictment on the play call by offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, and it was just such an embarrassing consequences. And I'm going to try and pull up a clip of that comment after the game, what Lavonte David had to say on that screen pass. It was just an embarrassing, that how in the world that he could have actually thrown 3 consecutive same passes. Here, I'm going to take a listen. Here.
I know they called the screen. The same formation. Everybody knew what was coming. So when he read out, he got the.
That play wasn't going to be anything.
Yeah. You see me right there. So, but he just made a big play. Playmakers made plays. And, his number was called.
What did you say about me?
Yeah, I mean that's an indictment. Unfortunately.
Yeah. When the defensive players said we knew it was coming, and these are guys who have been in the NFL for a long time. They've seen this. They've seen a lot of things. And then when they say, "Oh my God, this is the same formation, 3 wide receivers spread out to one side,
Mhm.
Now, granted, Getsy tried to be a little deceptive by putting them to the right on one time, to the left twice, but still, it's the same formation. And then poor Justin Fields, he has to he can't really audible out of this. He's trying to call the play that's sent into him on the helmet, and then that's what happens. I mean, that's just
Right.
really that. And I wrote the banner. Even though Steven is a Bears fan, I'm the one that wrote that banner, the Luke Getsy's incompetence, and I think that's what you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
about it. I think that's what you. I think every Bears fan is feeling that right now.
Absolutely. I think uh, it's. I think we're starting to see that right now, and you know, I'm going to say this as a Justin Fields fan and a defender. It's he is not without fault. I'm going to make that clear, and I think we all know that. You know, there's something seriously wrong with him when it comes to reading the defense. It's a lot slower than last year. You know, people like J.T. O'Sullivan and Tim Jenkins, former NFL quarterbacks, who has become a YouTuber and has become a go-to guy when it comes to weekly quarterback evaluations, and certainly. Justin Fields' evaluation has become a hot button topic in the Chicago Bears fans and the Chicago market area, because we know that Justin Fields is loaded with talent. There's no question about it.
Oh yeah.
What worked last year with all these design runs, RPOs, play actions, they took that away from him. What was working, and the problem with the Bears is that we've already gone through something very, very similar with Matt Nagy. The BU stuff, and Matt Eberflus is the weird hits principle that sounds more like a him like a JV coach more so than the NFL coach. But I digress a little bit there. But the point is we've already gone through this with Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields. It's hard to fathom that why try to do things differently what was working last year. It took Getsy 6 weeks last year to figure it out, what was good, what worked with Justin Fields. And we remember the New England game last year on a Monday night where he was literally lights out, and suddenly he looked like a legitimate NFL quarterback, and we saw the rest of the season last year. He set the a rushing record pretty much last year, and just now they're trying to make him a pocket passer for some reason, and it's just messing him up. His head and his body, and his footwork is also completely screwed around. And certainly, he has missed a lot of wide receivers that were open in the game against Tampa Bay. There's no question about it. Dan Orlovsky was actually doing a film study on Sports Center tonight earlier. There was a one play where I believe a running back was running a seam pattern, and there's two wide receivers, and he was wide open. Okay. And he could have pulled. He was actually ready to throw the ball on towards one of the open receivers, and that could have been an easy touchdown. And somehow he didn't pull the trigger. He held onto the ball. I believe that was maybe a second down, and he gets sacked. That was the play that he eventually got sacked again, and then were forced to settle for a 52-yard Cairo Santos field goal, near the end of the first half. That tied the game at 10-10. So, again, Justin Fields is without, certainly deserve blame, but it's always hard to imagine that, football coaches, and maybe this is not just limited to football coaches, Ken, but a lot of coaches in every sport somehow try to, make themselves look genius. Or try to do something different that he or she isn't capable of doing. And it's always so difficult for coaches to stick to, utilizing the strength of the players that they have in their arsenal. And again, we've seen that with Matt Nagy, and now the Bears are about to make a similar mistake with Justin Fields and the coaching staff led by Luke Getsy.
Yes, I totally agree, Stephen. I mean, Justin Fields has all the talent in the world, and we know that what he's capable of. But unfortunately, when you have coaches like Matt Nagy and Luke Getsy, who just don't seem to understand the talent they have and try to build towards what they have. I mean, Don Shula, if I could go back and digress a little bit, he was a coach that was ground and pound. Then he got Dan Marino and realized, hey, I got a passing quarterback. Ground and pound is not going to work. So let me change my philosophy and let a Mustang run free. You've got to be able, and I understand today's NFL is different than what it was in the 80s, but you have to realize what your quarterback can do. And, he's, as you mentioned, a guy who can do RPOs, run pass option, talented. He can use his legs. And if you're going to try and make him a pocket passer, that's just not going to work.
No.
And we've seen that in the last 2 weeks, some of the poor play he's made. And he can't, you're asking him to do too much. The reason why Jalen Hurts is doing so well in Philadelphia is because the coaches realize, and the reason why this Nick Sirianni does a great job in Philadelphia, he knows what he has, and he's not going to ask Jalen Hurts to. He can do it, but he can run, he can throw an 80-yard pass if he has to, but he's going to say, "Hey, look, let's build you the run pass option. Let's give you this. Let's build an offense that works with you, a system that works with you, and let's not try to make you put all the onus on you." And that's why Philadelphia is a favorite to go back to the Super Bowl, Stephen. I mean, I don't understand what Chicago is trying to do with this type of curse. This type of curse on all types of Chicago quarterbacks. Can you imagine? Can you imagine some of the quarterbacks that they could have had? And I'm trying to think back here to the Rams quarterback. Trying to think in the Hall of Fame. With
Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner. He said he had a chance to go to the Chicago Bears. Can you imagine if he went to the Bears? I don't think we would have had this great story if he went there. Considering all the curse that they've had on quarterbacks. So. Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing with Justin Fields, Stephen, and I know you're very frustrated about it.
Ted Nguyen, well-respected, Asian football writer with The Athletic, has his likes and dislikes, and he puts whatever the Chicago Bears are doing with Justin Fields as the very top of the dislikes. He certainly. Obviously mentioned what I said. So certainly this is what he is referring to, that pick six here.
Out of his own end zone, intercepted by Shaq Barrett, fighting at the goal line for a pick six that just might seal the deal for Tampa.
Yeah, I was so demoralized watching this one happen. And here's the other one. I'm going to pull up another clip here that I was earlier explaining about Dan Orlovsky on ESPN today.
When he showed when he showed the all 22 from the website. Yeah, let's take a look at that quickly. And you can also pull that up full screen, Stephen, when you have a chance. Really, one of the I saw that earlier from Dan.
Hold on. Yeah, I guess I may not have been able to share the clip properly there. My apologies there.
No problem. But
let me try it again. This is a clip here. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
To give everybody an understanding of what the pass concept is, okay? This is called sail. Outside receiver is going to widen and run a big post, okay? And then this inside receiver is going to run a corner route. Backside, DJ Moore, you have a seam release in route. Now, this is a great pass concept front side versus everything but two coverages. The first would be if it was cover 2. If I had a zone corner here and a safety there, that is not this defense, okay? If it was cover 2, we automatically as quarterbacks get to the backside. The second one is if the defense goes to a single high safety defense and plays with a little bit of outside leverage. I want everyone to play this because Justin's going to hold. Now, I want to show you. I told you what the pass concept was and what were the bad defenses for it. Now, right now, Justin should just be seeing that safety is dropping down from the middle of the field. That nickel defender is outside leverage on that inside release sail route, plays dead front side. Automatically, a quarterback, once you see that seam release by that slot receiver, that defender outside with the safety, get backside to that in route. Now, I want everyone at home to pay attention to one thing here. Just watch Justin Fields' feet here. And I want you to focus on the tempo of them, because what I see Justin on this, and you see that slot receiver get jammed up like this, watch how light he is on his feet and very slow and deliberate. When I see Justin drop like that, or any quarterback, I think he's thinking right now. There's no proactiveness. He's trying to react to the coverage. That ball should be out of his hand right now on DJ Moore's face mask, but his feet tell me he's trying to think through things. Maybe he can't see the field. Now I want to show you the next one. This is the one that a lot of people have seen already. The pass concept is going to be this. You're going to have an in route, okay? We are going to get motion. This guy is going to run up the seam, and we're going to switch release it. We are trying to throw the football right there, okay? I want everyone to see that. You're going to watch that seam pop open at home. Bang, he's wide open. Two guys wide open in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the
now,
two people that I was referring to.
Because I'm going to show everybody what I see with Justin on this. Just focus on Justin Fields, okay? And I want you guys to focus on the moment that's about to happen. Watch what Justin Fields does. Moment's about to happen, and
boom.
That right there. You're going, throw it. For everyone that tells me he can't see the field, he's looking right at it. He's got the trigger cocked. He's about to rip it to a wide open seam guard. Why aren't you throwing that football? I think that's going on right there with Justin Fields. One clip of you're so kind of like bouncy on your feet. It seems like you're trying to think through things. And then the second thing is you were ready to go rip that football. I saw you pat it, your feet were dropped, and then you didn't. And I think that's, guys, the question right now for Chicago, because everyone's saying we can't see the field. I just showed you a clip where he does. Yeah. He just doesn't pull it. And then, well, maybe he doesn't trust it. Well, I think that's the example with this kind of.
Okay. So that's from NFL Live earlier. I think that was today.
Yeah, that was NFL Live today. Yes.
Okay.
But it's basically exactly what Orlovsky was explaining on the 6 o'clock Eastern Sports Center with Kevin Nagandi. So exactly, basically the same thing. So he can see the field. He can. You saw that the second clip. He was ready to pull the trigger on that wide open. Either receiver or a running back that was basically a throw away from a touchdown. He could have thrown that. Any quarterback can do that. At least Fields had the ball and was ready to cock it there. So it's unfortunate what the situation is right now. And, there's people who are certainly starting to be out on Justin Fields. And, there's certainly, one side where, people like me, we need to perhaps fire Getsy and then just basically, or at least force Getsy to go back to what was working. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no shame in doing that. You got to win games. You have to win games.
Right.
Matt Eberflus, dating back to last year, you have lost 12 games in a row. Yeah. I can't think of any coach who has lost that many games in one season, let alone two, back to back consecutively.
Right.
And now with the Chiefs are on the horizon this week, and I'm going back to Kansas City this weekend after a long month in Philadelphia area for work. I'm not really looking forward to this game and being on national television. And then maybe the Chicago Bears might not be even ready to play, and then get their ass kicked by Kansas City. And with both Patrick Mahomes and Matt Nagy by maybe 30, 40 points if the history tells itself. So, I think, the clock is already ticking, not just on Justin Fields, unfortunately, but also on Luke Getsy and even Matt Eberflus's tenure with the Chicago Bears. Certainly, you have a new team president in Kevin Warren, which both Warren, certainly while he's busy with the stadium proposals, right now, he has to also be paying close attention to what's happening on the field as well.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to see, knowing that both Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus report to Kevin Warren directly, not George McCaskey, the chairman. At least Warren, if he doesn't like what he's seeing, he shouldn't be afraid to pull the trigger. What's ridiculous is the what's insane is the repeating the same thing over and over again. We know there's a saying. So it's about time maybe the Chicago Bears start to do their early evaluation on the coaching staff, and with the new team president in charge, they have to make a decision quickly if they're maybe 0-5 after the Thursday night game against Washington, or there's a mini bye, there's a 10-day window, 11-day window because of the Thursday night game. So the Bears have a decision to make. Do you go with Matt Eberflus still, or do you let them coach 3-4 more games and just decide to pull the plug altogether? Eberflus, Getsy, and even Justin Fields' career with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, you just have to. I mean, sometimes you have to, fish and cut bait. This is a situation, Stephen, where Bears fans have been very frustrated seeing what they did originally with Matt Nagy, and then seeing what happened with Justin Fields getting hurt last season. There was hope, but right now there's not much hope. So Luke Getsy has got to reassess. And as you said, go back to what was working with Justin Fields, because right now it's just not working, and the play calling is just really incompetent. So they've got to improve.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to Ken, your Cleveland Browns, who were on national television yesterday on the ABC network. I saw majority of the game, and I tell you, it was a good seesaw battle between two NFC North rivals. Cleveland coming off a victory in their season opener against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers were completely eviscerated by the San Francisco 49ers, traveling from a West Coast, playing in the 1 p.m. time zone, which is technically 10 a.m. Their time on the West Coast. But the 49ers show a tremendous amount of explosiveness and just beating the Steelers. And it was a very interesting game. I talked about the Bears in detail. I want you to give me your thoughts on what happened yesterday with the Browns and the Steelers.
Well, it started off. Now, Steven, get this. I'm in the kitchen cooking my dinner. I come out, and the Browns are already down 7-0 because of a pick six. Now, that wasn't Deshaun Watson's fault. It was off the receiver's hands and then run back into the end zone. But then there was some hope there. The Browns got ahead. Josh Cribbs looked quite good, as he always does. And then there was that injury that Micah Fitzpatrick hit him in the knee, probably not deliberately. I don't fault him for that. It was just one of those freak injuries.
You mean Nick Chubb? You're talking about Nick Chubb, right?
Nick Chubb, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Right, Chubb. But Chubb, I got to get rid of that. So Chubb, yes. Chubb was. It was just terrible to see. It was terrible to see. Chubb was running quite well, and that was just one of those situations, Stephen, where everybody was just praying for him. Everyone was praying for him. It was horrific to see. ESPN did not show the injury, and now it's just adding pressure on Deshaun Watson, who just did not have a good game at all. He
even admitted that he played like quote shit. So
right, yeah. There's the pick six. That was the first play of the game. And then Chubb was running very well and doing great. And then all of a sudden the injury. Steelers It was a back and forth game, as you mentioned. It was a very good game. But again, Deshaun Watson, I don't know. There's something in this situation, Stephen, where we saw him in Houston, and of course, what happened with him with the harassment charges, with the masseuses and the team players, and with him being suspended for 6 games last season. He has not been the same player ever since he came back. And we haven't seen the brilliance. Now, I didn't like this signing that the Browns made of Deshaun Watson. But no matter what,
This is a guaranteed contract, right?
and a guaranteed contract through 26. I don't know what the Browns management was thinking about this. Kevin Stefanski has had to deal with this. And it's been really they've tried all they can to do with Deshaun Watson, and now with no running game, they're going to have to deal with Deshaun Watson having added responsibility. And he hasn't shown me anything, Stephen, that he is up to the task. When he was in Houston and with a bad team, he was still giving some players hope. Now, here's an interception here, which led, I don't know. It's actually, there was the Browns were down 7-3, as you can see.
Yeah.
But they ended up
picking off a pass there. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even convert this. Actually, this field goal was missed, as you can see. So it stayed 7-3. I believe the Steelers went to the halftime with the lead, and then the Browns did go ahead. But then Deshaun Watson got sacked, and T.J. Watt picked it up to go into the end zone. Actually, believe it or not, that's his first touchdown in his career. Here's a great player who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, to join, and just like his brother's going to be, who just retired and now is on CBS and the NFL Today. But T.J. Watt was showing all types of influence on this type of game. And really, to be honest with you, you see Deshaun Watson, and there was I believe that was a 4th down. No, that's not the end of the play, but
here's the 4th one. Yeah,
there was the end of the game, which pass interference wasn't called.
Yeah.
But anyway, this game was just I didn't have confidence coming into this game, Stephen, because again, the Browns rarely win in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers were coming in desperate because after, as you mentioned, they just looked horrible against the 49ers in week 1. And really, to be honest with you, the Browns handed this game away and had an opportunity, and now they're 1-1, and they haven't been 2-0 since going back to when Bill Belichick was a coach in 1994. So, I don't know, Stephen. I don't have much optimism right now, especially now that you have Chubb out for the season and you have more responsibility. There you see Chubb going off. ESPN didn't even show the injury because that was that bad. I agree with that decision, by the way, not to show the injury. But, I don't know. I don't have much hope, especially with Deshaun Watson, especially now. And interestingly enough, the NFL has filed a grievance against the NFL Players Association, saying the NFLPA is encouraging running backs to exaggerate injuries so they could hold out to try and get at least more money. That's, and that's bad timing too, especially what happened to Chubb. Chubb's not exaggerating an injury. He's coming in with a with a season-ending injury, the same knee that he had to rehabilitate when he was in Georgia, where he tore an ACL, a TCL. So I don't know. I'm not very optimistic right now.
Well, I don't blame you. Deshaun Watson, like you said, hasn't looked good. He even admitted after the game he wasn't good. There's a scramble for the running back, now that Chubb is gone. He's a terrific runner and a very, huge, workhorse type of guy. There's a
receiver and he just missed him. That was just terrible. That's just not good play.
Yeah. So now they're talking about maybe adding Kareem Hunt. I think former Brown. At least he's familiar with the city and the system.
Right.
So they're actually talking to him. There's also a trade market for either Cam Akers or Dante Freeman of the Bears. Who has been, who was, a healthy. Active scratch last week against game against Tampa. Certainly a very talented runner. There's certainly the Browns have to make a decision on who will be the running back. What was the name of the running back who scored a 70-yard touchdown run yesterday?
Yeah, he was a good kid.
Ford.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, he was. He had a 64-yard run. He had over 100 yards yesterday.
Jerome Ford, the rookie.
Yeah, Ford actually showed some promise last night, but I don't know if you want to be giving him that much responsibility, especially in his first season. Maybe he can show us something, Steven. But again, you're going to have Deshaun Watson adding a lot more of the load, and especially coming off a short week. I'm not very. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic. As I said, I'm not looking. Especially, Rich Eisen had a tweet yesterday, and he also had a short video after the injury to Chubb, saying that Cleveland Browns fans and the franchise just can't have nice things, and he's very right about that. I mean, I'm sure the Jets feel the same way after what happened to Aaron Rodgers too. But to see that have this happen right when we're having some optimism and hoping that the Browns can win in Pittsburgh, and then for the Browns to just basically give this game away, a game that was for the taking.
Yeah.
I'm not very happy. I'm like you, Steven. I'm not very happy right now. I'm not feeling good about my franchise.
Well, at least you won the season opener, so at least there's that.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
We'll look at the other scores from last week. Let me pull it up for you regarding the week 2 actions that we touched base on our 2 favorite teams. One moment, please. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. All right. So let's see. Monday night, Saints, Panthers. Saints pull off a very close one. 0-2 now for Carolina Panthers. Certainly, as a Bears fan, we own the Carolina's first round pick, which right now could be a top 4 one, and
right.
The Bears will likely be picking right behind the Carolina at this rate, the way things are right now. But Bryce Young still hasn't looked all that impressive.
Right.
But the Saints at least had a very nice game from Chris Olave's catch. Certainly a terrific receiver. He and Garrett Wilson both coming out of Ohio State, one-time teammates with Justin Fields as well. So let's see. Sunday night, Dolphins beat the Patriots. The Patriots are 0-2 now.
Yes.
Which is kind of shocking. I'm sure Ken, living up in the New England area, that's a bit of a talk about Belichick could be in trouble or something like that.
I don't think he's in trouble. I will say I couldn't be happier that the Patriots are 0-2. This has been a long time coming. I facetiously say the Patriots are a cheating and thieving organization going back to Deflategate. Which, by the way, everyone knows that Tom Brady deflated those balls. I know I try to get on Patriots fans and cases, and I like to taunt them about Tom Brady, but there's no doubt of his greatness. But yes, this is the first time the Patriots are 0-2, Steven, since 2002. By the way, that was the year that Tom Brady came in to replace Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah,
but
they went on to win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yes, there's not. I don't think fans are looking at that type of same situation, especially the way Mac Jones is playing, and that offense, even with Bill O'Brien now as the offensive coordinator, hasn't shown much promise going into the game. So going into the season, there was hope that there will be a better output, but Mac Jones has not shown that he can even hit an open receiver. I don't think he could hit the ocean if he was standing on the beach right next to it right now. That's how bad that the quarterback situation is going. So I have to be honest with you. Tua Tagovailoa is now 5-0 against the Bill Belichick and the Patriots. He's never had that since he started coaching there. I gotta say that the Dolphins look very good, and at 2-0, and that offense, and they have Tyreek Hill, who was an MVP in the NFL in the previous seasons. I can see them right now being the class of the AFC East. They're up 2-0. Buffalo, with Josh Allen, they have a lot of things. They still need to work a few things out, but it looks like a clash between those two teams on top of the AFC East with Miami and Buffalo. Steven, of course, Buffalo looked like a much better team this weekend. They won their game. Josh Allen did not look like the Josh Allen of week 1. He looked like a much better Josh Allen instead of not throwing interceptions against the Jets team that in week 1. So they righted the ship. And Cincinnati is 0-2, Steven. Joe Burrow had an injury in their game against the Baltimore Ravens yesterday.
Same injury that he suffered in training camp, right?
Yes. And it doesn't look like he's going to be playing on Monday night. So I don't think the Bengals will go 0-3, but I think they're playing the Niners? Are they playing on Monday night?
No, they're playing the Rams Monday night. So that will be, I think, on an ESPN game.
That'll be the 7:15 game. So we'll see.
No, I think it's an 8:15 game. 8:15.
Okay, it is an ESPN game because ABC has the early game at 7:15 that week.
Right, that's the Eagles and the Bucks.
Eagle and the Bucks, right. So I have a feeling. I don't know. I think the Bengals will win that game, to be honest with you, because there's definitely going to be some urgency on the sense of the Bengals. You don't want to go down 0-3. They were 0-2 last year and starting out the season, and were able to get all the way to the AFC Championship, as we know. But still, you just don't want to go 0-3. And with your star quarterback and Joe Burrow not there, I still think they will manage to defeat the Rams and Jared Goff, because we don't know what the Rams are at this point. And they were soundly beaten by the San Francisco 49ers. And if you saw that game, I had the game on Sunday Ticket, Steven. I was watching part of that game along. I had Red Zone on my television, and I had the Rams and Niners on my iPad. I don't know what it is about the Rams fans, and they just sell their tickets and allow the 49ers fans to come down and basically make that Levi Stadium South and make that a home game for the 49ers. But it just doesn't. The Rams didn't seem, especially in the second half, and Jared Goff hadn't thrown an interception in a while, threw a couple in that game. And the 49ers just came in and basically slapped the Rams all around up and down the field in that game. So I don't know how the Rams are going to be against. Al Michaels said in an interview with Rich Eisen, we really don't know who the Rams have, and we really don't know what they are. We know what the Bengals are, but without Joe Burrow, there's a lot of questions. But I still think the Bengals will defeat the Rams on Monday. But it's interesting to see some of the teams that are 0-2 going into week 3, and there's going to be a lot of especially questions, especially for the Bengals as they play on Monday night.
Yeah, on the AFC West, Chargers and Broncos are 0-2.
Chargers,
Chargers, certainly Brandon Staley looks like he's a man on the hot seat.
Yes.
Sean Payton, Broncos, scored a touchdown on the Hail Mary, which I saw it. They failed on the 2-point conversion there. Looked like, the wide receiver got mugged in the end zone on that 2-point.
There was a headlock too. There was a
Yes.
Not only was he mugged, but he was a headlock.
Yeah. It was egregious as yesterday's Steelers, Joey Porter Jr.'s last attempt. That was so. You have Chargers and Broncos at 0-2. Chiefs are on the winning column, but they certainly did not look good against the Jaguars, who they faced in the playoffs last year.
Right,
as we all remember. The Colts beat the Texans. They're on the winning column, but Anthony Richardson suffered a concussion. Unfortunately, the Texans are 0-2. At least C.J. Stroud looked really, really good, throwing for over 300 yards, and so at least there's something to build upon there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the National League. NFC, excuse me. I'm sorry. The Cowboys eviscerated the Jets and Zach Wilson in their home opener. Eagles are 2-0, but I am actually in the Philly area for work, and the fans are getting a little bit antsy, even though they're 2-0. The Philadelphia Eagles, that is, they're not really impressed with Jalen Hurts' performance. It's kind of similar to what the issues with Justin Fields, slow in triggering, the balls. If you saw the Vikings game, Hurts were consistently being stopped whenever he tries to run with the ball. He also threw some very bad pick in the game as well. Even there were fans questioning if off-season, endorsement deals changed him or something like that. So fans in Philly, they I tell you, they quickly turn on you, like that. But I still have no, I'm sure the Eagles will, when it's all said and done, they will, be there again in the NFC. The Commanders are 2-0, of course, again, and the Giants, after they were staring at the 0-2 start, they came back and beat the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona in a dramatic fashion, which is crazy. Everybody in the NFC North lost basically. The Vikings certainly are not looking good right now. They certainly got a lot of breaks last year, but they have been losing a lot of one-scoring games all of a sudden this year.
Yeah, this talk, Stephen, that maybe the Jets might want to get Kirk Cousins. I don't think it's going to happen, but
no.
The Vikings won a lot of one-score games last season, but what usually happens the following season, as you mentioned, the Vikings had a lot of luck last season. Usually, what comes around goes around following season. So. They week 1 against Tampa Bay, you had that situation where they were going back and forth, but a much better the Tampa Bay Bucks won in week 1, and then on Sunday the Vikings, as you mentioned, just didn't look good at all. So and the Green Bay Packers, after defeating your Bears and looking quite good, Jordan Love fell back to earth, especially trying to come back, and so the Packers lost the Atlanta Falcons, who are 2-0, by the way. They're 2-0, right? So So what's interesting, little hope there in Atlanta, but Jordan Love was hoping that he could bring the Packers back after a field goal put the Falcons up ahead, but Love could not get the job done, so he definitely looked like a rookie. Well, he's not a rookie, but he definitely looked like a first-time starter in the NFL, and trying to get the Packers back on the winning end. And so the Packers are 1-1. So we'll see how the NFC North ends up. That might be a fight to the end to see who wins that one, and it could be a 9-8 or a
8-9 record, or might
record
do it for
on
you.
top of that one. Yeah, because and the Lions, Lions 0-2.
No, Lions are 1-1.
1-1. Did they lose? They lost to. I thought Seattle beat them, right? Oh, that
Right. Seattle beat them.
they-
Yeah, they beat the
they beat
Chiefs
them.
in the opener.
I'm
Right.
sorry,
They
they beat
lost in the OT.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So here's a chance for the Lions to show something, but
Right.
the Seahawks came in and beat them. So in
Mhm.
I really thought that the Lions would win that game, but there were some things in there, Stephen, that the Lions just looked really. There were some puzzling things that happened over there, and I know some Lions fans were saying same old Lions, but we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, they're preseason darlings, and I still think they're going to win the division. But very interesting to see how they bounce back and amidst the all the problems that they had to deal with the officiating, certainly, and now they're ready to perhaps faces a very early test in their road to respectability.
Right.
All right, let's move on to college football, and the story is the Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, and they had a in-state rival, Colorado State, and their head coach Jay Norvell, fired an early shot about taking hats and sunglasses off. When they're talking, and there was a photo of Norvell being interviewed. I think it was after the end of first quarter, where he had a hat on, so he certainly couldn't talk about Deion himself. When he wasn't doing that himself there. But
Right.
there was so much trash talking leading up to this game, and Ken. I actually did stay up to watch the game, and
Good for you.
yeah, well, I did, and I gotta say, full disclosure, I fell asleep at some point. I realized I fell asleep. The game was actually, listen, very, very competitive.
It was a good game.
And Colorado, it was a very good game. Not going to lie to you. Colorado State gave them all they could.
Yeah, and
And,
Colorado was a 20-point favorite in that game, by the way.
Exactly. And I tweeted that who knew that the Colorado State was the first team to hand them their first loss of the season, and then where you were, you have Oregon and then USC back-to-back weeks. It wasn't looking good at all. Ken.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really competitive game, and it was it was kind of shocking. When I woke up that Colorado, I think a lot of people fell asleep, and especially those on the East Coast, and really fell asleep, and only to wake up and realize, wait, Colorado just won, in 2 overtimes.
Yeah, they needed a 98-yard drive that Shohei Sanders did a great job, and it ended up with a 46-yard touchdown pass and a 2-point conversion that they needed to tie the game, to send the game to overtime. And then in OT, Colorado took the ball. Usually in OT in college, you usually like to take the ball last so you know what to do.
Mhm.
But Deion Sanders is never one to follow convention. We know this. He decided to take the ball first. Colorado scored first. Colorado State then tied the game on their own touchdown, and then in the second overtime, a touchdown pass to Harrison to put them up. They got the 2-point conversion, and then Colorado got the interception to end the game in the second overtime. But really, to be honest with you, the Rams did have an opportunity to win this game, and they even knocked Travis Hunter out of the game,
Right.
which we'll see coming up very shortly, on a pass that went to the sideline. Hunter did try to return, but then went to the hospital. He's going to be out for the next 2 games, and he could be really that could be a factor in the Oregon and the USC game. The game against Oregon will be this Saturday at 3:30 on ABC. Joe Tessitore will be at the game and calling that. That should be fun. But we'll see what Colorado is made of, Stephen, because they're going to have to take on Oregon, which is expected to be one of the contenders to win the Pac-12 this season. USC also, and that's going to be the following week. At least they're going to have to travel to the Great Northwest in Oregon this week. And if Colorado can keep it close or even win that game, imagine the hype going into the USC game the following week. That's going to be absolutely crazy. But the odds makers right now, they are not too confident in Colorado. They have Oregon up as a favorite for 20 points right now. But don't forget that TCU was a double-digit favorite over Colorado, and the Buffaloes defeated the Horned Frogs on the road. So we will see what is Colorado made of, and if they can keep this great story going, and if this whole thing is sustainable. And there's the injury to Travis Hunter. As you saw, Hunter was on the sideline, and there he got hit on a cheap shot. And
by Henry Blackburn.
Yes. And Stephen, unfortunate side note to this game, Blackburn received death threats what he did to Travis Hunter, and really unnecessary. I mean, it's a game. You don't try and do death threats against an athlete. And he's a kid. He's in college. Not unnecessary.
Right. And, his family was also targeted. The phone numbers and addresses were kind of like revealed as well.
Yeah.
Look, it's a disgusting cheap shot. I get that the game was physical. There was a lot of taunting. And we have already told you about the side note leading up to this one. Jay Norvell criticized Deion Sanders' decision to wear glasses and, hats while talking, and then Norvell said that, he was taught that never do that to an adult or something like that. But certainly, both sides, fuel their, anger and, the rivalry in this. And, what happened with the Henry Blackburn situation, that hit is a cheap shot. There's no question about it. I know it wasn't a helmet-to-helmet contact, and there have been some talks that maybe he should have been at least suspended or ejected. And I thought that maybe, if you're going to throw a flag, which we did see the flag being thrown on that one, you might as well look into it and, maybe they might have to start enforcing these types of hits, not just the ones that, helmet to helmet or crown to crown type of hits. But I think if you're going to have a player like Hunter having to miss 3 weeks with a lacerated kidney, and, thankfully he went on to his Twitch stream, I believe, and said that he is doing much better now.
Yes.
Certainly, both Sanders and, Hunter both were showed professionalism, at least in stating with regards to what has had to happen with Henry Blackburn being targeted. I'm going to play a clip of Sanders talking about the Henry Blackburn situation. I'm going to take a listen here.
Go ahead.
I want you guys to record this and run with this. Henry Blackburn is a good player who played a phenomenal game. He made a tremendous hit on Travis on the sideline. You could call it dirty. You could call it he was just playing the game of football. But whatever it was, it does not constitute that he should be receiving death threats. This is still a young man trying to make it in life, a guy that's trying to live his dream and hopefully graduate with honors or degree, committed to excellence and go to the NFL. He does not deserve a death threat over a game. At the end of the day, this is a game. Someone must win, someone must lose. Everybody continues their life the next day. Very unfortunate. I'm saddened if there's any of our fans that's on the other side of those threats. I would hope and pray not, but that kid was just playing the best of his ability, and he made a mistake. So I forgive him. See you, our team forgive him. Travis he's forgiven him. Let's move on. But that kid does not deserve that. Free Blackburn. I want you guys to.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So very classy by Deion Sanders to say, "Hey, look," and that's what I did. It's a game.
Exactly.
No reason for Blackburn to be threatened. Granted, we get emotional over a hit like that. It's a rivalry game between Colorado and Colorado State. They're in-state rivals. It gets emotional. There are some things that I thought that Novell's kids were a little bit out of control. There was a hit in the end zone. I think Shadur Sanders' brother actually managed a pick six and ran all the way to the end zone, and was pushed by one of the players by Colorado State, and he fell into the goal post.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was some thuggery there. But really, to be honest with you, it's a rivalry game, and there's no reason for death threats to be made, especially to a kid. That's not necessary. And classless people trying to put up the family's phone numbers is just going way out of hand. And let's just remember, he's just a kid, and whatever happens, and let him be.
Absolutely. I apologize. I may have probably pulled a little bit earlier, but speaking of violence, we had a very violent weekend in football. Ken, you're probably very much aware about what I'm about to tell you. We had a death of a football fan up in New England during Sunday night football game, where a fan was punched. And it's a tragic story as it is. I'm going to play a clip of the CBS Evening News here. Just 1 second.
Yep. Go ahead. You can. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's with Nora O'Donnell.
Yep. Okay.
Massachusetts State Police are now investigating the death of a New England Patriots fan after a fight at Sunday's game. Gillette Stadium officials say they are heartbroken. Video shows a fight between 53-year-old Dale Mooney and an unidentified Miami Dolphins fan. Witnesses tell CBS Boston Mooney was punched following a verbal exchange, and he never regained consciousness. An autopsy was expected to be performed today. Mooney was a father of two, and he had season tickets for 30 years. Massachusetts.
Yeah, that was a situation that's been reported all over the New England region. I believe the man is from New Hampshire, which is in northern New England. Prayers to his family, and especially his two sons. We see fights in the stands all the time. As someone who has worked briefly in stadium security, it's one of your worst. You hate to see things like that. You understand that, emotions get to you. But to be honest with you, it really shouldn't get to that point. You can do some ribbing. You can, you can do a little bit of taunting back and forth. But when it gets violent, that's when it crosses the line. And we see it all the time. I mean, unfortunately, it's going to continue. And to see that death is just very tragic, and I hate to see it. And unfortunately, we've seen this before when fights get out of hand, and it usually just ends up in arrest. But I don't know all the details, but you just hate to see that, and you just feel for the man's family.
Yeah, it's just really, really tragic. And, we saw something very similar happen all over the weekend in Houston, where we saw the fans fight amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys Jets game, the Cowboys and the Jets fans fighting. We even saw a Bengal fan who was arrested, handcuffed, and then he took the liberty to still headbutt a fellow Bengal fan that was also on all over social media as well. And look, Deion Sanders said it best. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and this isn't just limited to the United States. Of course, I will say this. We've seen a lot of violence being taking place at European soccer games, even to this date. When the team isn't doing very, very well, the fans or the ultras, take it out on the organization, as well as take it out to the streets, which turns very, very violent. I read a story on a French team, Olympique Marseille, which is a club with a lot of history, both the good and the bad. Announced that the chairman, or I think the general manager, left, as well as the head coach who hired him, in unity because of the threats and the violence against them earlier today. So this isn't just limited to in the United States, unfortunately, and maybe the NFL might have to start addressing the issue heads on. Not just the alcohol involved, but now you have to also factor in the gambling aspect of it too. So it could get really, really violent, not just amongst the fans themselves in the stadium, but maybe like we saw with the Colorado state safety being targeted for threats. The players and their family members are now being targeted, not basically due to poor performances and the poor numbers in the fantasy football leagues, which we know players from time to time take it out on social media. There was a last week the Vikings running back Alexander Matheson. Remember, he was being peppered, I believe, on Instagram with a bunch of N words that was targeted towards him, because I know he didn't play well, and I think he lost a fumble too, which the NFL and the Vikings had to release a statement on that matter as well, which is unfortunately becoming very, very dangerous.
Right. And, let's hope that, it doesn't come to that. It doesn't get to the point where we see more deaths in the stands. Let's just hope that some cooler heads can prevail. Stephen, let's now go from football. Let's now go to baseball. Over the weekend, Shohei Ohtani cleaned out his locker in Anaheim. People made a big deal out of it, but Ohtani said, hey, look, I am not going to be playing for the rest of the season because he's now going to have surgery. He just decided to clean out his locker and said, hey, look, I'm just going to hand my stuff back. Some people are trying to read into this by saying that he's going to be definitely leaving Anaheim, but I don't think, I'm not going to read too much into that. Like I think the explanation is legitimate. Like he just is not going to play anymore, so there's no reason for him to wear a jersey anymore. He said he will still be in the locker room. He'll still be in the clubhouse. He'll still be with the guys, but he won't be. I don't think it's to read anything that he's unhappy with Anaheim. It's just the fact that he's just going to have season-ending surgery with his obliques. So I just think that I think the fans and the media are reading a little bit too much into that.
Yeah, I think the way that was a paraphrase, cleaning lockers, sounded like he was pissed and that he was ready to leave or something. But certainly, I think I took it on Twitter like, why did it took the Angels to finally came to this conclusion so long? He was basically spending the last 2 weeks trying to play, but yet he wasn't even ready to go and play.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then they finally came to this conclusion. I think it was. I think it just goes to show that there is no leadership within the Angels organization. Certainly, Perry Manassian, the GM, and Phil Nevin, the manager. I think both of them are gone at the end of the year. Certainly, Angels are about to go on a massive house cleaning.
Yeah.
Mike Trout has indicated that he probably might consider, requesting a trade, and I don't blame Mike Trout one bit. He
No.
has been, unfortunately, starting to break down a little bit more than he has been. And for him to maybe get traded, I would assume maybe gets traded to the East Coast, maybe like Philadelphia, Baltimore, or, maybe one of the New York teams. Certainly makes more sense. He's a New Jersey guy where I'm currently close by, and his family still is here. I think his wife, fiance is from this area as well.
Right.
I think it's whatever the value you can get, you better get with the Mike Trout, because you certainly had that opportunity with the Shohei Ohtani, and the Angels gambled and made a massive trade at the deadline, only to bottom out, and they ended up releasing pretty much all the players that they have acquired at the trading deadline and via waivers, which is absolute bonkers.
Mhm.
And certainly, there was a report that came out this evening in a breaking news during Sports Center that Shohei Ohtani's surgery was successful.
That's
So
good.
now he is set to be exclusively a hitter in 2024, and hopes of pitching again in 2025. So,
Mhm.
it's still a long ways to go. And very, very interesting to see if, Ohtani has a change of heart by the time he's ready. And, if he wins the MVP this year, God forbid, we hope so. And then that maybe next year, if he focuses on hitting alone, he can probably put up even bigger numbers. Certainly in a different organization, as we all expect him to do so. Wherever it might be.
Yeah, Peter Gammons, the legendary baseball insider, tweeted earlier over the last few days, said that maybe Boston is a front runner for him. Now, as a Red Sox fan, I would love nothing more for Ohtani to be hitting in a short right field porch at Fenway Park. He also mentioned that New Balance, he has a very good relationship with New Balance, and also the Japanese community in Boston. That would be great. I would love that. But I also think Seattle is also one that is in contention for him because of Nintendo and also the potential of the Japanese community over there. They have asked, if you remember, during the All-Star game, they all went crazy for him and asking him to go. He said he did hear that.
Yeah.
And of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers, staying in Los Angeles is still a potential for him to do. The Dodgers. So we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting offseason. We don't know where he's going to go, and maybe he'll stay in Anaheim. He's very comfortable there. So
Right,
and he likes playing there. But I don't know how much he wants to play in a losing situation. So if he comes to Boston, he's still going to be in a losing situation because they just fired Chaim Bloom over the weekend and the general manager. So the Red Sox aren't in much better shape than the Anaheim Angels. So if he wants to go to a winner, Seattle is definitely, of course, they're in contention for the wild card. The Dodgers, of course, won the division, the National League West, and are coming off great seasons of success. So I would say, Stephen, that Shohei definitely has some options for wherever he wants to go, and if he wants to win right away, maybe the Dodgers are a place for him, that a potential for him to go to.
Yeah, a lot of reports are coming out that certainly he's more focused on winning more so than anything else.
Yeah.
I know that the Mets apparently were in the news about maybe Steve Cohen trying to go after Ohtani, which has been long rumor, although that John Heyman shot down the idea that perhaps that the Mets are probably better off being more smart with it when it comes to spending and being all in on Ohtani this year, because the Mets were a complete mess this past year. They've traded away both Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander. Pete Alonso was also almost traded away in the trading deadline, and he's one of the few players on the Mets that are very, very valuable, and that the Mets are right now targeting for 2025 rather than next year. So I don't know if Ohtani would be interested in playing in the Mets organization, given that the Mets, had what they thought was a competitive team, but unfortunately, much like the Padres this past year, they were a massive disappointment.
Yeah.
So it will be very, very interesting to see, which team he goes moving forward. So at least his surgery on his oblique UCL was a successful one. That was announced this evening, on the Sports Center as a breaking news. So at least now Ohtani can focus on his hitting, and then his free agency whenever the baseball season is over. So will be very, very interesting to see, and that we'll be monitoring his the decisions moving forward. Certainly, this is going to be a huge decision, since LeBron James, announced his decision. So we'll be keeping an eye on it, and then any interesting nuggets and notes. Hopefully, we'll have baseball writers and experts on this show moving forward. As we enter the baseball's winter leagues, and then the winter off season. Well, Ken, another fantastic show. We covered a lot. Certainly, week 3 of the NFL certainly is on deck. The college football schedule looks to be a much better this upcoming weekend than the last week. With Ohio State, Notre Dame game on the prime time. Clemson, Florida State is on deck. We touched on the Deion Sanders' Colorado heading to Oregon to play Oregon. Very competitive. That's going to be a very exciting game. Those are top 3 certainly games that I'll be keeping an eye on this weekend as well. You can follow Ken on his Twitter handle at Fangs Bites, FANGSBITES. You could also follow Ken on his work as a contributor and on associate editor on sports blog Awful Announcing at awfulannouncing.com as well. I can be found on Twitter at Asian Sports Fan 1 on Twitter. I'm also busy writing once again with the Bears season on Bears Goggles on Fansided Network. I'm going to be very, very busy writing about the my thoughts this past week against Tampa, and the future of Matt Eberflus and the coaching staff moving forward. Ken, another wonderful night. Thank you very much, and enjoy your sports weekend, and we will catch up with you again.
Absolutely. And don't forget the AA team. We live stream whenever we can on YouTube. It's on the AA Team podcast channel. It's under my channel over on Fangs Bites. We also live stream on our Twitter accounts, Asian Sports Fan 1, which is Steven's account, and on Fangs Bites. So you can watch us. Sometimes we don't have enough. If we have enough advanced notice, we will let you know. We got this was a little bit short notice we came on, but you can definitely find us. And of course, I kept retweeting the live feed. So we archive this, so you can watch this back at your convenience on demand. Thanks for watching us, and we'll be seeing you again on the AA team right here on these platforms. And keep watching for us. Have a good week.